Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Matters of Faith, the radio show. Matters of Faith is a show designed to bring issues of interest to you, the listening and viewing audience, that will put a biblical perspective on everyday issues. I am your host, the Reverend Dr. J. Lauren Russell, and it is my job to engage you in stimulating dialogue that's inspiring, encouraging, and motivating, dialogue and conversations that will help you build your determination, your commitment, and your character, conversations that will help you keep the faith. Everyone born of God overcomes the world. This is the victory that has overcome the world, even our faith. 1 John chapter 5, verse 4. And now, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, without further ado, it is time for Matters of Faith, the radio show. Good evening, everybody. How are you? Hope all is well. Today is Monday, March 17th. It's 8 o'clock, and it's time for Matters of Faith, the radio show. By the way, Blessed Women Her Story Month. I am Reverend Dr. J. Lauren Russell, the executive producer and host of Matters of Faith, the radio show. And tonight we're talking about this article and the topic, Open His Eyes. And we're on Matters of Faith, the YouTube channel. Tell a phone and tell a friend. They don't want to miss this production tonight. This broadcast is going to be extraordinary. And we're also on Facebook Live, J. Lauren Russell and the Matters of Faith Facebook groups. My very special guest this evening is Reverend Dr. James A. Kilgore, Senior Pastor of Friendship Baptist Church and the President of the Baptist Ministers Conference of New York and Vicinity. Don't forget, telephone, tell a friend. We're on right now on Matters of Faith on the YouTube channel, J. Lauren Russell, Facebook group, and Matters of Faith, the Facebook group. Open his eyes. Please don't forget our sponsors and advertisers, the JLR Company and J. Lauren Russell Consulting, LLC, for all of your church financial consulting needs. You need a church loan. You need your trustees to be trained. You need biblical economic training. You need personal loan reduction strategies, property development, property maintenance. Remember, it's not about the castle. It's about the kingdom. Reach out to us. Email us at jlaurenr@jlr.llc. That's JLORENR@jlr.llc. Or simply give us a telephone call at 718-328-8096. That's 718-328-8096. Matters of Faith, the book. You can use our Cash App to obtain it. Just $ Matters of Faith. The book is $24.15. That includes shipping and handling. You can send your check or money order to the JLR Company, Post Office Box 301, New York, New York 10035. That's Post Office Box 301, New York, New York 10035. You can also get it as an ebook by going to www.smashwords.com/books/view/993177. That's www.smashwords.com/books/view/993177. Check out the Eat Okra app for all black-owned restaurants all over the nation. That's right, Eat Okra. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our Matters of Faith YouTube channel. That's the Matters of Faith, the radio show YouTube channel. And last but not least, get your subscription to Better Mag magazine today. A 2-year subscription is only $27.50, and you can get that by going to www.abettermag.com. That's www.abettermag.com. Better Mag magazine invites each and every one of you to join them as they celebrate in their annual Diamond Award Gala on Saturday, March 29th, 2025 from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Verdi's, 680 Old Country Road in Westbury, New York. That's Verdi's at 680 Old Country Road in Westbury, New York. The ticket price, $110. There's entertainment, and there's acknowledgement and recognition of those who are impacting our community for the better. Come and celebrate with Better Mag magazine at their annual Diamond Award Gala. You can purchase your tickets by using Zelle, 646-243-7771. That number again is 646-243-7771. You can also purchase tickets using their Cash App. That's $BetterMag, $BetterMag. You can also use PayPal. That's paypal.me/bettermag. That's paypal.me/bettermag. If you want to advertise, please send your digital journal ready ad to gloria.bettermag@gmail.com. That's gloria.bettermag@gmail.com. And of course, you already know you can also go to www.abettermag.com to get additional information to purchase tickets, and you can use the QR code that's on the screen. That's www.abettermag.com. Better Mag Magazine's annual Diamond Award Gala, Saturday, March 29, 2025, from 12 to 4 p.m. at Verdi's, 680 Old Country Road, Westbury, New York, 10590, and the ticket price is $110. We hope that we see you there. Matters of Faith recognizes and honors Madam C.J. Walker, who was born Sarah Breedlove on December 23, 1867, and went home to be with the Lord on May 25, 1919, an American entrepreneur, philanthropist, political and social activist. Madam C.J. Walker is recorded as the first female self-made millionaire in America. Walker made her fortune by developing and marketing a line of cosmetics and hair care products for the black women through her businesses that she founded. C.J., Mrs. Charles Joseph Walker, after her third husband. And Madam C.J. Walker was quoted to once have said, "This is the greatest country under the sun, but we must not let our love of country, our patriotic loyalty, cause us to abate one whit in our protest against wrong and injustice." Matters of Faith recognizes Madam C.J. Walker. And now it's time for the article, Open His Eyes. That article can be found in my column, Matters of Faith, at the Yonkers Insider, www.yonkersinsider.blogspot.com. That's www.yonkersinsider.blogspot.com. It can also be found in Better Mag Magazine, www.abettermag.com. That's www.abettermag.com. The column is also carried in the Positive Community Magazine, www.thepositivecommunity.com. That's www.thepositivecommunity.com. The column is also carried in Pamela's Big Heart newsletter, and many of you have received a direct link from me, text or email. But please, ma'am, please, sir, if you have not had the opportunity to read the article, please do so. Archive it. Open his eyes. 2 Kings chapter 6, verses 16 and 17. So he answered, "Do not fear, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them." And Elisha prayed and said, "Lord, I pray, open his eyes that he may see." Then the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountains were full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. Open his eyes. When something seems to be completely impossible, or there seems to be no way out, no options, no chance of escape, there are two things that can be done. The first is to believe in the impossible. The second is to pray. The countries of Israel and Syria were at war against each other. The king of Syria sent a large force to capture Elisha, dead or alive. Some estimate that up to 50,000 soldiers were dispatched. While Elisha slept, the troops with chariots and horses encircled the city. When Elisha's servant awoke and saw that they were surrounded, he fearfully said to Elisha, "What shall we do now?" In his eyes, they were totally outnumbered, and the possibility of their getting out of this was completely impossible. Matthew Henry's commentary correctly concluded that those who fight against God, his people, and prophet know not what they do. Elisha's assistant didn't get that memo. He also only saw the incredible number of soldiers. But Elisha had no such fear and told him, "Do not fear, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them." He then graciously extended the ultimate kindness and gave him into the power and the grace of God. He prayed for him. His limited faith was fortified by the strong faith of the prophet Elisha. With open eyes, the servant now knew that he and those in the city were safe when he saw an army of angels on chariots and horses of fire, ready to battle any adversary. If you're in a situation that seems hopeless, or an illness, the deep pain from the death of a loved one, I pray that the Lord will open your eyes so that you see the angels in chariots of fire that have already been dispatched and are at your service. Be blessed. Now, here's my question, and I really want you to listen carefully. When your eyes have been opened, in what ways does your view of adversities change? Let me ask it again. When your eyes have been opened, in what ways does your view of adversities change? Matters of Faith family, it really gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce to some and to present to others my very special guest this evening. This is not his first time, so he's now one of our returning guests. Reverend Dr. James A. Kilgore is a native New Yorker who has taken his gifts and refined them for the marketplace in the greatest city of the world, New York. He is a proud graduate of the New York City public school system and received his bachelor's degree from the College of New Rochelle. He went on to earn and receive a Master of Divinity degree from that prestigious university known as Drew in Madison, New Jersey. An ardent supporter of education, he went on to earn his Doctor of Ministry degree in 2021 at the esteemed United Theological Seminary in Dayton, Ohio. The title of his dissertation, The Absence of Black Men in the Church. Dr. Kilgore was called to preach while serving under the leadership of Reverend Darrell L. George at Messiah Baptist Church in 1992. He has served as a senior pastor of the historic Friendship Baptist Church for the past 22 years. He also served as catechist for the United Missionary Baptist Association, UMBA, and is presently serving as the president of the Baptist Ministers Conference of Greater New York and vicinity. He is a proud member of the Iota Phi Theta Fraternity Incorporated, Beta Rho Omega chapter in Long Island, New York, and is the proud husband of Mrs. Linda A. Kilgore. And they reside in the Boogie Down Bronx, New York. So, Matters of Faith family, would you welcome me in the best way, in the most exciting and the most thrilling way that you can, my guest tonight and my friend and brother, Reverend Dr. James A. Kilgore.
I think I got you that time. I think you're in
my
there.
brother.
How you
What's up,
doing, my
man?
brother? Good evening, good evening, good evening. Thank you so much for being with me tonight. I appreciate you, man. It's good to see
What's
you.
going on, man?
Hey, I'm just doing my thing, man. I'm doing what the Lord has called me to do, trying to be faithful to the calling. You know
Got
how
you,
it
brother.
goes. You know how
Yeah.
it goes. So listen, let me ask you a question. I got to do this because I got to start the show off by asking you this one question. I ask it of everybody. You probably remember this because I asked it of you before, but I read your bio. They know a little bit about you. They don't know a lot. They know a little bit about you. But tell us something about you that we don't know and we really should know.
Oh, I have South Carolina roots. My wife is from South Carolina. My mom and dad are from South Carolina, and I get to I get to go back and forth from South Pickens and
Say that
Loudoun.
again. So say that again. You get back
Get
and
to go
forth
back and
where?
forth to Pickens, South Carolina.
Back and
With
forth to
both
Pickens,
of us
South Carolina.
right, yeah, South Carolina, where we have our roots from. And um, just that I just have just all around brother who's concerned about the church and the future of the church and our people, especially in the community, um, Harlem and Bronx and several other areas where we're trying to make a difference for the kingdom of God. And just a good friend of Reverend Dr. Lauren Russell and his wife and family. So we just appreciate you, and we wouldn't have it any other way but to come and Matters of Faith again.
Well, I'm so glad that you came, and thank you for taking me up on my invitation. I tell you, and you don't have to wait for me to invite you. You can just say, I want to come back, and I'll make it happen because I enjoy having you. You're great. You always have great things to share with us, and that's always the best thing. The best part of it is what you share with us. What we share with the people is just bringing people to the front that need to be there, and you're one of them. And I'm so glad that you always receive that offer well. Last week you were actually scheduled the week before last, but you got sick. You had the flu, and so definitely took care of that. And so I'm glad that you are here today. Feeling better?
Feeling better, man.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. I was not able, by the way, we talked about the Baptist Ministers Conference and stuff, and I don't get a chance to get there as often as I like because in preparation for this takes a lot of preparation.
I'm sure it does.
Tonight, I said, nobody really knows what it takes to prepare to do this broadcast, but I do it on a regular basis. But today was a significant day, and I'll talk about it a little bit more, particularly in my closing. But one of my closest friends that grew up with me, I've known since 5 years old, his wife transitioned this morning.
Okay.
So I was with them, ministering to them pretty much for the earlier part of the afternoon. So I wouldn't have been able to come down there today just because I had to be with, I think, it was one of the deacons at Goodwill used to say, duty bound. I was duty bound.
Were they from New York?
Yeah, they're from New York, man. I've known them literally all my life. I've known Peter, that's the husband. I've known him since I was 5 years old.
Wow.
I mean, it's like, he's my brother. In the old days, I said in the old days, we used to cut ourselves.
Yeah. Put some blood on. Yeah,
blood brothers, that we don't do that today. Don't do that today. Now.
Please don't. No, I would not suggest that.
No. Like back in the day, we could do that kind of stuff, but not today.
No.
So yes, I was with them. So just keep my friend Peter, his family, Cohen's, his wife Audrey, and it's interesting because his wife and my wife share a niece.
Wow.
Yeah, because they're from the same part of the country. They're from Charleston, South Carolina.
They're from the Geechees down by the state.
Exactly, that's exactly right. They're from the Geechee country. we hillbillies, and they like ocean folk.
That's right. They're down by the ocean. That's right.
That's right. So listen, today I'm talking about this topic, this article, Open His Eyes, and I know you read it and stuff, and I was just thinking about because what was happening, I guess it started. I was doing some study and I read this in the scripture, and it just kind of dawned on me that we oftentimes forget just how protected we are. Just how protected we are when the army of Syria had completely surrounded the city, and they were trying to get to Elisha. The servant woke up in the morning and saw this great crowd encircling the city with horses and chariots and weaponry, and they were coming to get his master. And Elisha had no such fear. Like, those who are with us are greater than those who are with them. And I think we forget sometimes just how much God cares for us and how much he puts a hedge of protection around us. We pray about it a lot, but I don't think we always recognize just how protected we really are and how much God really is concerned about our welfare.
Right.
So, yes, I want to sort of open it up with that and let you kind of expound on it any way you want.
Well, it's interesting that look at the prophet and his he called him a servant, Elisha. Elisha got to see all of the miracles, power of God through his father or the major prophet Elisha, and up until this point, it was all victory. Yeah, and so here the young man is getting real quickly how God had blessed them, and immediately when they were surrounded and the challenges was taking place, he couldn't see what the prophet saw. He saw we're in trouble, and the prophet was like, "Lord, open this young man's eyes."
Yeah.
He can see that we're not in trouble, and so the first thing the young man so many things he couldn't see. He couldn't see, the fire is the presence of the Lord. He didn't even know.
Right.
He didn't know.
Right.
Fire is the presence of the Lord is with them, and he's just seeing, all of these. We're surrounded basically, and so when that's one of the first things. I guess you could say First Corinthians chapter 4, verse 4, Satan has blinded the minds,
Mm.
the eyes of people that they can't see. Just like Elisha couldn't see. So you asked the question, what is it? What what is it? What is it that you learn to? Is it that appreciate or when you're surrounded? The
Yeah.
question, yeah,
Oh, you mean tonight, the
yeah.
question?
The question
Yeah,
is,
when your eyes have been opened, in what ways does your view of adversity change?
right. So uh, uh, when your eyes have been opened, you know, you know, some of us don't see. We see an opportunity with
Mm.
adversity, you know, and some of us, when our eyes have been opened, we may be stuck or stagnated,
Mm.
to just stay in one place, and so uh, Elisha was telling the young man, basically calm down, it's okay, you know, and then he didn't never gave him the reason.
Mm-mm.
All he did was said, now Lord, blind these people, them blindness, and so he blinds them, they can't see, and he comes down and leads them into Syria.
Mm.
Yeah. And then he says, Lord, open their eyes so that they can
Yes.
see where they're at. And they were in a trap.
Yep.
So I'm like, well, so I would say then that Elijah's teaching a few lessons. The first lesson was the young man was not mature or experienced like the prophet.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. So some people's eyes can't be open until they can gain a sense of spiritual maturity, and God preparing them to get them ready for the opportunity to be able to see.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and this young man was he calls him a servant.
Mm-hmm.
His role was being a servant, and he was serving him for a mighty long time, because I think he was in that school of the prophet.
Yes.
So I like your story is right to the point, and you were talking about different issues that we face, adversity, and right now with people's eyes being closed in the church and in the community and in their families because they just can't see it.
And you mentioned a good point because, right now, with our political climate the way it is, there's a lot of adversity. Every day, a new shoe drops, right? Every day we get something new that comes up on the horizon, and we don't know what to expect, and everybody's in a flux. I'm talking about everybody, not just some, but
Right,
everybody. And then some are saying, well, we've got to go through this in order to get to the change, in order to get to the change that we need. And they say, well, we'll bite the bullet until it happens. And
mm,
that's commendable. That's commendable. But and at the same time, many people are not just anxious, but they're feeling the anxiety. It's like that army has encircled them, and now they're starting to attack, and they're coming from every direction, and people don't know exactly what to do. And so, when adversity comes, what do you do? How do you handle that? Like, for instance, this servant of Elisha simply went to his master and said, "What do we do now?
right. We're in trouble. What do we do? Right,
What do we do now?" And so a lot of people are asking that question. Now, I'm glad that your theology is centered on church. I'm glad that you open up with that because people are coming to the church. And I say the church, I don't mean a building. They're coming to the people of God, and they're saying, "What do we do now?"
right. And one of the things I focus on is the infallibility uh,
Mm,
uh, of the Holy Writ.
mm,
Because we as humans, we are fallible. We
yes,
will disappoint, we'll make mistakes, but um, God has revealed Himself through His Word, so that um, He won't ever fail us or make a mistake, as we in our human frailty will.
right.
So when, like right now, with all of the political climate, what's happening in the church, what's happening in our families, what's happening in the community, people are asking the same question: which way do we go?
Mm.
And does God still is he still hearing us? Is
Mm.
there a direction for us? And so before we make an immature and an unwise move, we just got to be still. And Elijah had already had a number of experiences with God.
Right.
So the experiences that he had with God had been maybe one or two low valley moments, but most of them were victorious moments
Mm-hmm.
and miraculous moments.
Mm.
And so in 2 Kings chapter 6, he's almost at the mountaintop before he gets to the ultimate a battle of with Jezebel and Ahab. So here we are, and he's sharing with the young man. You know, he never really answered him. He just
Mm.
went straight to God and said, God, open this young man's eyes. But he never answered him. And he said, what do we do now? And then when the young man's eyes are partially open, he said, there are more of these chariots and horses and angels on our side because they had them surrounded.
Right.
So most of us now, we don't realize that what we see is really temporary.
Mm.
We see, Trump, we see all of this stuff, but that's not the reality of it.
Right. That's right.
Yeah. The reality of it is in a few days, Trump will be gone. Yeah. And then, where do we go from there? Because that's gonna come to an end. It may not come to an end tomorrow, but in a few days, that'll be over with and be the next chapter of what we have to deal with. And so I'm praying that God would open the eyes right now of beginning in my family with all of those who are confused about who God is and why it's important to have a relationship with Him, and then in our churches with those who are still struggling with, do I come back or
Mm-hmm.
do I stay on digital platform? And then those who just they don't know what to believe. They don't, they believe there are so many people who their eyes are closed because before they get to matters of faith or before they get to friendship, they've seen 5 other digital preachers already.
Right. Right.
So their eyes are not open as of yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting because when you think about it, when your eyes are closed, it's dark.
Right.
Right. Dr. Sears like to say, in the darkness, the boogeyman comes out. So we get
That's
scared.
when the boogeyman comes out.
That's right. When the boogeyman comes out. And there was a movie out with the Candyman came out at night,
I remember
and
the Candyman.
so he came for, to the clown, what was it called? Oh my gosh. Was it called Clown? Was that the
Which
movie?
one?
Steven Spielberg? I mean Steven Spielberg.
The
Steven
clown. Yeah, it was called Clown. Yeah,
was
yeah,
it
it
called
was. It
Clown?
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, he was, all of that stuff happens when it's dark, when it's at
At night.
night.
Mm-hmm.
So the fear becomes real. And so, when you're going through it, so for instance, people waking up in the morning and realizing that they don't have the resources that they had. They were there, but now they're gone.
Right.
That's that, and what I'm talking about is now anticipatory anxiety, which is probably worse than than the reality of it. But I'm anticipating something going wrong. I'm anticipating my Social Security not being there. I'm anticipating my Medicaid not being there. I'm anticipating my Medicare not being there. I'm anticipating my rent subsidy not being there. And
Right.
so the anxiety of all of that, then they come to, friendship. They come to matters of faith. They go to the Evangelical Church of God, where I'm serving. They show up and say, what do we do now?
Right.
Right? What do we do now? We don't have those things anymore. What do we do now?
And so the challenge for adversity and the opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a challenge, but then there's an opportunity to either build future or to stay in one place and not realize that there's more on who supports you. There's more who's been encouraging you. There's more who wants to see positive things to take place in your life. There's more on the opposite side of what you can't see right now, and what God has in store and is ready to bless you with a more of a prosperous blessing that you didn't know was coming. To bless you with, somebody will say, you know what, I know where you can get eggs for free. I know where you can tap into the rental assistance. There's still a portal so that the oil is still flowing and that you can see what you've been missing. What you've been missing because it's been dark. You don't have the information, you don't have the inspiration, and you don't have the powerful prayer in improving your life in that sense. So there's a challenge and an opportunity in Second Kings, the 6th chapter, verse 17. Great opportunity, and a great opportunity right now for us, But there's an open door or open window, as Paul says in First Corinthians, but many oppositions or many adversaries.
Yeah.
So that's why God needs to open all of our eyes, especially today, to see that and there are challenges, but there are many more opportunities to improve ourselves and to make a difference. Faith matters is an opportunity to help us overcome the challenge. God helps to open our eyes, and so but many people are living in the darkness. They don't even realize that they're in the darkness. They actually think that they're doing well. Yeah, and some of it is true. They are doing well, but they're only doing well to a certain extent. You know, God opens their eyes; they can see. There's a greater opportunity for a blessing that they can share with someone else.
Yeah, I like what you said, particularly about the adversity or the challenge versus the opportunity. Because, we talk about often, we use these phraseologies, right? A silver lining in every cloud, But what does that really mean? Well, it means nothing unless you have seen the cloud, right?
Right.
But when you get there and you start to go through the storms of life and you start feeling the effects of an adverse weather condition, and then you begin to realize, you know what? I can make it through this storm. I know what to do. And in fact, you figure out that you can use the elements of the storm to help you to grow food, right? You can use whatever comes your way, right? The winds, it's interesting what we've been able to technologically do. We have windmills. They literally use wind to create power.
Great energy.
Exactly, right? The waterfalls, waterfalls, the rain comes.
Produces energy.
Absolutely. So there's a way to do all of it. It's just that we don't necessarily take advantage of those opportunities because we see them as challenges. So I'm really glad that you brought that out because, we really need to look at how we look at things. How do we observe it? How do we see it? Because that's going to determine how we live through it. It's how we observe it, what we see it as. Is it really a challenge or is it really an opportunity?
Well, I was speaking with got a friend of mine. He passes in a place called Shorter, Alabama, a little small little town. And the town next to his, everybody lost their property in this tornado on David. It hit 3 other towns, and so only one building was left standing. That was the community center, and everyone's house is gone. And so I said, "Well, man, how did you survive?" He said, "Well, I took the time to stand in the doorway with me and my wife, and that standing in the doorway, the storm passed over us. and several other people, but some laid on the ground with their children. So I asked him, I said, well, he said, I can't see how I'm going to overcome this. He said, but I know it. I can see it. It's coming. He said, I can't see it, but I know it's coming. Just like we could
That
hear the
cloud,
storm.
right? It's like that cloud that looked like a man's hand.
Right. I can't see it. He said, now we couldn't see the storm, but we could hear it coming. And the siren hit, and it was they only had, like, some people had a minute, some people had 60 seconds, 30 seconds. And so, and it was, as soon as that tornado hit, he said it was real dark. Knocked out all the power. Nobody could see anything. He said it wasn't until the sunlight, that's when they could see the damage. And so, but that was his opportunity to say, I don't know how we're gonna overcome this, Kill Voices, but there's an opportunity for us to start over, and because we still have our lives. Yeah. So a lot of us, we can't see that our eyes not being open because of the dark, the diversity, or because of a challenge, or because of what you name it, a sickness. We don't have money. We don't have food. We can't buy eggs. We can't buy whatever it is that we think we need, and not realizing that we can take and go get some seeds from Home Depot and grow our own food.
Absolutely. You can buy chickens too that lay eggs.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You can buy chickens too. That's right. If they'll sell them to you, that's right. You can.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. Well, I had a cousin. He's no longer with us, but cousin on my dad's side. He used to raise rabbits, chickens, his own garden.
All right.
In New York.
All right.
In New
York. Rabbits and chickens. What else?
Rabbits, chickens, and he grew his own food.
All right. All right.
Grew his own food. And I mean, I'm talking about, because rabbits, think about this. Rabbits multiply.
Yes, they do.
They multiply. And so there's always meat.
There will always be meat.
Right?
They rapidly.
That's right. As a matter of fact, if you think about it, in Detroit, when Motown went under, the Motor City went under, a whole lot. In fact, this was chronicled in the movie by Michael Moore.
Okay. One of his documentaries.
Yes. And he went and interviewed this particular family, and they were raising rabbits.
All right, now.
And the rabbits were providing them with food. And not only that, but they were selling the meat to other people. So it was bringing in them revenue. So they turned that negative into a positive. That disaster that took place in Detroit, they turned it into a positive. They began to grow food. They began to raise. And my cousin over here in Brooklyn, he was doing the same thing. I was like, get out of here. And so, and I know here in the Bronx, you live in the Bronx.
Yes.
But we here, and I'm in the South Bronx. You're in like mid Bronx right now. I guess that's what they call it nowadays. But we used to never hear. But today you might hear a rooster anywhere in New York City, particularly in the Bronx.
No question about it. Right now, I mean, yeah, you because that's an opportunity, to overcome the darkness
Absolutely
of inflation, recession, higher prices, and so and I think over in the Pelhamdale area, over by what's it called? What's it? Rodman's Neck, where they do the shooting.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
area.
You're right.
Yeah,
right.
They're doing a lot of growing.
Cultivating there.
Yeah. So that's one of the areas, and it's off the grid, because you don't get to see
right.
it. You
exactly.
don't get to see it.
Exactly.
So, happening in it, but all of that is because it's a process of overcoming adversity.
Right.
Definitely, it's a challenge, but you're facing the challenge head on, and then God opening the person's eyes,
right,
that they can start to see, and then Dr. Russell, when you start talking about opening your eyes, we are living in this age of the rise of the nuns, NONES, people who are religious and unaffiliated.
Right.
So
Correct.
they're the most fastest growing kind of religion or non-religion, and then there are those who are just out there. You know, they believe, and you'll hear them saying, "I want to give honor to God." They're getting an award in a sports game, you know, but no one says. Sometimes I'll say to myself, "Is that the God of Abraham, Isaac, and
Mm,
Jacob, or is that the God of Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Amazon, Google? Which God
mhm.
is it?" You know, and so that's the challenge because we've been facing about 60 or 70 years of people no longer coming to the mosque, the
Right.
synagogue, or the church. All three of us are being affected, and
Mhm.
that's not to say that people are not religious. No, they're just not present in understanding what does it actually mean to have one's eyes open, you know, and to be challenged in our thinking and to not go within and become angry because you can't see.
Yeah. Yeah.
So then, you know, you start taking it out on others. You know, and that's a strong challenge in the world that we live in. And so I'm happy that Elijah at least had the time to speak with his servant and say, you know, it's not big. He never said to him, "It's not that bad." You know,
Right.
he just said,
Right.
"Lord, open his eyes."
Right. You
Yeah.
know, it's interesting. You know, as you're talking, I went to an event last Friday evening, and I met a sister. We were riding up on the elevator, and she said, she saw I had a name tag on. You know, she says, "Oh, you're a reverend." I said, "Yes, I am." She says, "Oh, that's nice." I said, "Oh, thank you." She says, I said, are you affiliated with, you go to church or synagogue or mosque? She said, no, I don't believe in organized religion.
That's
I said,
that's the
oh,
norm. Yeah.
I
Okay.
said, I got
Cool.
it. I said, I get it. I get it. I said, so what religion do you believe in?
Right.
You know, she says, well, I believe in God. I believe, you know, but I just don't think that the way in which we worship, going to churches and stuff like that, actually, you know, I just don't see that. I said, I get it. I
It
said, I
didn't
get it.
work. Right. It
I
didn't
said, I
work.
feel the same way.
Right.
So,
I feel the
I
same way.
feel
Yeah,
the
I
same
do. It
way.
never. Right. Right.
I said, yeah, I said, because, you know, I said, it has gotten to the point that, you know, it looks a lot like all we're doing is serving another master.
Right. Right. Right.
So, you know, I said, I understand why you feel that way.
Right.
And what was the interesting thing that took place is that she came up to me 2 or 3 times after that just to say something to me.
Right. Right.
So what happens is that the barrier for conversation was removed. So I did not a rope a dope,
Right.
but I did float like a butterfly
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and
You were
sting
everywhere.
like a
Yeah,
bee.
you were everywhere.
You can't
Good
hit,
move.
but you
Right.
can't see.
That's right.
So you know the thing I used to like about Muhammad Ali and his fight, and a lot of others too, but he just had a grace about it. You know, you
Yeah.
swing and the punch get right there. He just go like this, and it
That's
just go
right.
right past, right? So he was a master at making you miss.
Mm-hmm.
And when you swinging and you missing,
Losing
that takes
power.
a lot of energy out of you.
Takes a lot of strength out of you. That's
So
right.
so shadow boxing, you know,
Mm-hmm.
you throwing jabs and punches, you hitting nothing.
Right.
So I'm yeah, hey, I feel the same way. Missed. You
Right.
know, hey, you got a right to feel that way. Another miss.
Right.
Now she comes to me and asks the question, where's your church?
Right. Right.
So all of those things. Now, she may not ever set foot in the church that I'm leading. Not ever,
No, that's right. That's right.
but it doesn't matter, right? So I said, by the way, I said, you know, I said, I do a weekly broadcast. I hand her my card.
Okay.
I
Check
said,
it out.
yeah, if you like. So I mean, she might be on the night. I don't know.
Right.
But
Right. She might
I
be.
do that. Why? Because you open the window of opportunity versus versus adversary.
That's
I'm
right.
not being adversarial. I'm being opportunistic. Check it out for yourself. See for yourself.
Mhm.
Because when you see for yourself, what happens? Your eyes begin to open. Now you can see. Now you can make a judgment. You can make a decision. You can actually make a determination because you're looking at it with your own eyes, not out of the lens of someone else who maybe you saw it from a different perspective. Now you see it in this perspective. You see it differently, right? And what's that song? If you put your hand in the man who still the water, the man who calm the sea. If you take
Take a
a
look
look
at
at yourself,
yourself.
you
It's
can see others differently when you
different
put your hand in the hand of the man from
from
Galilee, right?
Galilee. That's right.
So you want to give people an opportunity to see things from a different perspective. We can't open blinded eyes. We can pray like Elisha did and ask the Lord to open the blinded eye. But if they don't come to us and say, "What do we do now?"
Yeah, where we go
Right?
from here? Yeah, where we
Right.
go
If
from
they
here?
don't if they don't ask that question, then how do you help? They're not coming to you. You have to be open and available for people to come and ask the question. Then you can extend the helping hand. Turn them over to the Lord. Give them to God.
And Dr. Russell's like when we look at the current state of the church, because I'm just looking at Outreach magazine, and then it's the church, the state, and our families, so the community. And so when we start looking at our families, and who was it? Herbert Daughtry, and I was outside of what's her name? Hazel Duke's when I saw Herbert Daughtry's daughter. I said, "Is your dad inside?" "Yeah, Reverend Kilgore." That's all right. So when I was talking to him, he said, "Kilgore, let me ask you this." He said, "One of the things that's not happening," he said, "I'm 93." He said,
Mm,
60 years ago, when I was in my 30s, he said, we in all communities, we had to focus on a family structure of mom and dad and sisters and brothers and all of us coming together. He said, now, he said, all of us, and he said, and most of us, if we did something, which was questionable or morally questionable, most of us, our nieces and sisters ended up in South Carolina pregnant
mm,
rather than still in the community.
mm,
We don't have that now. Now we have people who and it's nothing wrong with it. And we can't condemn them. They're still our relatives and brothers and sisters, but we don't have the nuclear emphasis of a family structure
mm,
of mom and dad, sisters and brothers. Now it's like know, and Jesus gives us the model that when they were bringing the children to him to bless him, the disciples wanted to condemn them. So we're not to condemn them, but it sure would help if we had a stronger family structure. Uh, so that's one of the models
mm,
that and the challenges for us to say, you know what, let's hope God, you can open our eyes to see that maybe we can improve on how we're doing things with the family,
mm,
improve on it. So that's one of the things that I'm looking at. So that state of the church, the state, and the city, uh, the numbers are looking like real low.
mm,
But and the thing is, even though we have those numbers, the church still has relevance.
yeah.
And what we share, and whether it's the good news or word of wisdom, and to open people's eyes, still has relevance. Because the three most important people, or four, would be the psychiatrist, the psychologist, and the pastor.
Mm,
Because people always look, for advice from them, share intimate information with them, and but we are not to be put on a pedestal. So that has happened, so that the people's eyes can't be opened because they put some professional people on a pedestal,
right, right,
and that
right.
only only God can be up there. And so that's another challenge. But I believe that you're headed in the right direction. that God, when our eyes have been opened, we see adverse things in a different way. When our eyes have been opened.
Yeah, and one of the things I've recognized a number of years ago is that the one of the ways that we can help people to open their eyes is by asking questions.
Right.
I found this out many, many years ago, that when you ask questions, you make people think.
That's right.
The only challenge is that when we ask questions, we tend to want to answer them before the person has a chance to answer them themselves.
Right.
And that just stops the process. So now watch what, using the scripture that we use, right? The text from 2 Kings 6, 16, 17. The servant said, "What do we do now?"
Mm-hmm.
Now, he could have blurted out something. Do we get weapons? He could have done all of that, and then he would have missed the whole answer. He would have missed his revelation. But he didn't do that. He stayed quiet and waited for an answer. And as you said, Elisha did not give him an answer.
He didn't.
He didn't even respond to him.
He didn't.
He said, "Lord, open his eyes.
All I need
You can see." And then once he saw, everything changed. So one of our viewers said, he said, when I was talking about the young lady that I was speaking with, and she said about organized church, he said, I understand that sister's position. I was there once too.
Mm-hmm.
He says, with my intellectual self, not spiritual self.
Right.
And my response was, Dr. King once said that he only knew the Lord intellectually too.
Mm-hmm.
But it was an experience that he had with Christ that refocused his mind
Mm-hmm.
to his heart.
Right.
So it was an experience, right? It was an experience. And so Anthony responds, he says, and the faith multiplied. Because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for an experience. We as human beings, we need that emotional attachment. We need that. It's good to understand him intellectually. It's good to understand that he is who he says he is and all of those kinds of things. But without the emotional attachment, the spirit is not released. It's not open. And so when this young man was told or was prayed for, and the miraculous took place, and his eyes were open, and he was able to see the spiritual through the physical, he saw the spiritual. And when he saw that, he realized that he was safe. When you have an experience with the Lord and you have that supernatural encounter, now you realize that you are safe, that no weapon formed against you shall prosper, that they can come with any device that Satan can devise, and it still won't be able to touch you. You'll be on the upside of that opportunity versus challenge. You'll be on the upside. And you'll be able to get all and be all of the things that the Lord created you to be in the first place. But if you never get to the place, if you never get to the point that your eyes actually open and you see, you're still walking in darkness.
Right.
And that's the challenge that we have, particularly as leaders. And by the way, I'm not talking about just those of us who are in ministry per se, got collars or whatever, degrees, got letters behind our name and all that kind of stuff. But I'm talking about those who literally have an encounter with the living God.
Right.
Their responsibility is no different than ours.
Right. Well, and when I look at the Elijah and Elisha's, look at their lives, and I was sharing with you that Elijah was modeling for Elisha, for him not to look at him as a person,
Right.
but to look at the God of Abraham, Isaac. Look how God has led us through all of this, and so he's seen some of it, and so And then he sees the power that this man's prayer life had, because he says, God strike them with blindness. Yeah.
Yes.
He didn't say, get a sword and stab them and kill them. Yeah. And then he leads them by I don't know how many of them. Maybe it was an army, 100. We don't know how many. Some people try to say, it was a whole lot of it. It might have just been 10 of them. And he leads them. And when they get to Syria, he says, Samaria, he says, now open their eyes. And by then it was too late. It was already cracked.
Yes.
I found one option.
Yeah.
Stay high on Northern Boulevard in New
His
York.
prayer life
About 7
was
miles
so
to your
powerful
east, gets 4.5
that
stops on Hill.
each time he prayed, he got results from his prayer.
You mentioned something that I mentioned in my sermon yesterday. I didn't put it in the article, but I put it in my sermon.
Okay.
That was that. Well, I tell you what, we're going to talk about it because we're almost at the top of the hour.
Okay.
So I'm going to mention it, but I want to delve into it a little bit when we go to the top of the hour, because I got about 3 more minutes, and then I'm going to go back and go to the top of the charts and go back and recognize my sponsors and advertising and all that kind of stuff, and then read the article again, and we'll come back. But you said something that was really critical, right? He prayed also to the Lord to strike those who were in that great big crowd surrounding the city with blindness.
Yes, sir, with blindness.
Right.
So
and now he prayed for the servant to see, and he prayed for him to be blind.
That's a rough man.
So they literally went blind, right?
Yes,
they
sir.
See a thing. And then he stands before them and says, you're in the wrong place. Yes, I'll lead you to where you want to go.
Yeah, I'm going to lead you.
And I'll lead you right to Elisha. Now he's standing right there in front of him. Right. They don't even know it's him. Nope. So they can't see him. It's like those two men, those two guys who were walking down the Emmaus Road, and they were talking after Jesus' resurrection, and Jesus was walking with them, and they couldn't recognize him. Yeah, he's standing right there, couldn't recognize him.
Are you the only one?
So he says, look, I'll take you to him.
Right.
And then he takes them to him. He said, now, Lord, open their eyes. Right. And they realize we're in Samaria. We're in Israel. Now we're surrounded.
Surrounded. Yes, sir. We're in trouble now.
We had them surrounded. Now we are. Yeah, and they're like, now they're panicking, like, because think about it, right? You had the upper hand. Now you are in the center, and everybody's got their eyes on you, and they got their spears out and their swords, and they can take you apart.
Yeah. The table has been turned.
The tables have been turned.
Yeah.
And then the king says, should we kill him?
Yeah.
Should we kill him? Ask twice, right? Should we kill him?
Yeah,
should we kill him?
Yeah.
Because I want to kill him.
Yeah.
I want to, because they tried to, I want to kill him. Let's kill him. Let's take him out. Let's take him out. And Elisha says, no.
No. We're not going to do that.
That's not what you do. He literally, if your enemy is hungry, give him food to eat. If he's thirsty, give him something to drink. He lived that out.
Yes, he did.
Reality.
He modeled it before them.
Totally. Like you said, Elijah, he modeled for Elisha. Now Elisha is modeling for this entire nation of warriors. And they are there, and they're stunned because he says, put food before them, put water.
That's right.
Give them something to drink, feed them. And they're like,
basically, they blessed them.
Yes. Now, they're frightened, and we'll talk about a little bit more. But I just want to say that they're frightened. Now they probably don't know what to think, but they left there thinking, this has got to be the kindest man in the world.
You ain't lying. That's how they left.
We ain't coming back here no more.
Yes, sir.
We don't care what the king say. We ain't coming back here no more.
If we could ever get out of
here. Right. We ain't coming back here no more. Elisha, you do whatever. We ain't coming back no more. But think about this. What we're talking about in terms of the adversities that we are currently facing and are going to continue to face. The Lord says, I will make your enemy your footstool.
Right.
Right? And then those who have plans to hurt us, to maim us, to destroy us, will fall into the very pit that they're digging for themselves.
That's right.
They will fall into it, and we will
gallows.
have
The gallows have been set up.
Exact for them, right? Was that Haman?
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Built
That's
it
right.
for the prophet, and he
got
wound up being hung on it.
By his, Lord had to finish.
So I'm not worried about those things anymore, because I know that those things that we're concerned about, really the Lord says, I got this.
Yeah.
I got you.
I'm prepared.
Don't worry about it.
He's really preparing for a blessing.
Yes. So let's do this. Let's go to the top of the hour. You can go ghost. I'm gonna go ghost. What I mean by going ghost,
all right, good.
I'm going to come off my video so that we can go through this whole process. You can do like
I'll be right back.
And yep. And we'll just go through the advertisers and sponsors and stuff like that, and then we'll be back in just a minute, guys.
Please don't forget our sponsors and advertisers, the JLR Company and J. Lauren Russell Consulting, LLC, for all of your church financial consulting needs. You need a church loan. You need your trustees to be trained. You need biblical economic training. You need personal loan reduction strategies, property development, property maintenance. Remember, it's not about the castle. It's about the kingdom. Reach out to us. Email us at jlaurenr@jlr.llc. That's JLORENR@jlr.llc. Or simply give us a telephone call at 718-328-8096. That's 718-328-8096. Matters of Faith, the book. You can use our Cash App to obtain it. Just $ Matters of Faith. The book is $24.15. That includes shipping and handling. You can send your check or money order to the JLR Company, Post Office Box 301, New York, New York 10035. That's Post Office Box 301, New York, New York 10035. You can also get it as an ebook by going to www.smashwords.com/books/view/993177. That's www.smashwords.com/books/view/993-177. Check out the Eat Okra app for all black-owned restaurants all over the nation. That's right, Eat Okra. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our Matters of Faith YouTube channel. That's the Matters of Faith, the radio show YouTube channel. And last but not least, get your subscription to Better Mag magazine today. A 2-year subscription is only $27.50, and you can get that by going to www.abettermag.com. That's www.abettermag.com. Better Mag magazine invites each and every one of you to join them as they celebrate in their annual Diamond Award Gala on Saturday, March 29th, 2025 from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. at Verdi's, 680 Old Country Road in Westbury, New York. That's Verdi's at 680 Old Country Road in Westbury, New York. The ticket price, $110. There's entertainment, and there's acknowledgement and recognition of those who are impacting our community for the better. Come and celebrate with Better Mag magazine at their annual Diamond Award Gala. You can purchase your tickets by using Zelle, 646-243-7771. That number again is 646-243-7771. You can also purchase tickets using their Cash App. That's $Better Mag. $BETTERMAG. You can also use PayPal. That's paypal.me/bettermag. That's paypal.me/bettermag. If you want to advertise, please send your digital journal ready ad to gloria.bettermag@gmail.com. That's gloria.bettermag@gmail.com. And of course, you already know You can also go to www.abettermag.com to get additional information to purchase tickets, and you can use the QR code that's on the screen. That's www.abettermag.com. Better Mag Magazine's annual Diamond Award Gala, Saturday, March 29, 2025, from 12 to 4 p.m. at Verdi's, 680 Old Country Road, Westbury, New York, 10590, and the ticket price is $110. We hope that we see you there. And now it's time for the article, Open His Eyes. That article can be found in my column, Matters of Faith, at the Yonkers Insider, www.yonkersinsider.blogspot.com. That's www.yonkersinsider.blogspot.com. It can also be found in Better Mag Magazine, www.abettermag.com. That's www.abettermag.com. The column is also carried in the Positive Community Magazine, www.thepositivecommunity.com. That's www.thepositivecommunity.com. The column is also carried in Pamela's Big Heart newsletter, and many of you have received a direct link from me, text or email. But please, ma'am, please, sir, if you have not had the opportunity to read the article, please do so. Archive it. Open his eyes. 2 Kings chapter 6, verses 16 and 17. So he answered, Do not fear, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them. And Elisha prayed and said, Lord, I pray, open his eyes that he may see. Then the Lord opened the eyes of the young man, and he saw. And behold, the mountains were full of horses and chariots of fire all around Elisha. Open his eyes. When something seems to be completely impossible, or there seems to be no way out, no options, no chance of escape, there are two things that can be done. The first is to believe in the impossible. The second is to pray. The countries of Israel and Syria were at war against each other. The king of Syria sent a large force to capture Elisha, dead or alive. Some estimate that up to 50,000 soldiers were dispatched. While Elisha slept, the troops with chariots and horses encircled the city. When Elisha's servant awoke and saw that they were surrounded, he fearfully said to Elisha, What shall we do now? In his eyes, they were totally outnumbered, and the possibility of their getting out of this was completely impossible. Matthew Henry's commentary correctly concluded that those who fight against God, his people, and prophet know not what they do. Elisha's assistant didn't get that memo. He also only saw the incredible number of soldiers, but Elisha had no such fear and told him, Do not fear, for those who are with us are more than those who are with them. He then graciously extended the ultimate kindness and gave him into the power and the grace of God. He prayed for him. His limited faith was fortified by the strong faith of the prophet Elisha. With open eyes, the servant now knew that he and those in the city were safe when he saw an army of angels on chariots and horses of fire, ready to battle any adversary. If you're in a situation that seems hopeless, or an illness, the deep pain from the death of a loved one, I pray that the Lord will open your eyes so that you see the angels and chariots of fire that have already been dispatched and are at your service. Be blessed. For the last time tonight, here's my question. When your eyes have been opened, in what ways does your view of adversities change? One last time. When your eyes have been opened, in what ways does your view of adversities change? I know that you can't wait to hear what Reverend Dr. James A. Kilgore has to say, and so am I. But listen, this is not his first go-around. In fact, this is his third appearance on Matters of Faith, the radio show. And so it gives me a great deal of pleasure to introduce to some and present to others for the second half of this broadcast tonight, my guest, my brother from another mother, Reverend Dr. James A. Kilgore. And by the way, the beautiful woman you see in the picture is his lovely wife, Linda. So, Matters of Faith family, let's welcome in our own special way my friend, my brother, and one whose parents come from the same little town in South Carolina as my mother's family, Pickens, South Carolina, the Reverend Dr. James A. Kilgore, pastor of Friendship Baptist Church and the president of the Baptist Ministers Conference of New York and vicinity.
There you go. Welcome back. There you go.
Hey, what's up, buddy? How you doing, Doc?
Good.
Good.
I'm good. And welcome back. So listen, we started talking about that second portion of what we started talking about, that second portion of the scripture when it talks about Elisha praying for the people who had surrounded them, and now they were being surrounded, and he's asking the Lord not just to forgive them, but asking the people to take care of them and feed them and give them some water and then set them free. They didn't go back to their master. So what I was thinking is that the prayers of the righteous availeth much. That God will make your enemies your footstool. That the best thing that you can do for your enemy is make them your friend.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And those brothers left there, they left in admiration and in awe of this man named Elisha. And they never came back again. Just think about this. Today, if that mentality, if that kind of faithfulness was used, would there be a war going on right now between Palestine and Israel?
No. And Dr. Russell, there are several dynamics taking place in the text that relate to your question. Not only do they need to overcome the darkness, be able to see, but when the servant says, basically, what do we do now? And Elijah says, he says, don't be afraid. Let me stop you from being, don't be afraid. There's more with us than are with them. But he couldn't see anybody.
Right.
Yeah. So this guy's telling me not to be afraid. There's more who? And then so that's when God says, he says to God, praise God, Lord, open this young man's eyes. And so he, 3 prayers, open his eyes, he does. And then, Lord, blind these people so that you're going the wrong way. I'm going to lead you the way you need to be.
Right.
And then, someone said, well, he wasn't really being truthful to them. Well, I mean, they blind, they wouldn't be able to know it anyway. They were blinded. And so then when he gets them into Samaria, he says, God, open their eyes.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So 3 requests, and God does it all. And then here's the piece that really I was thinking about. They were really pleased with his hospitality.
Yes.
I mean, guys would lay out give us some food, give us some water to drink, not gonna kill us, And then they were pleased by the hospitality of the king, and maybe they were so frightened by the power that because they got to see, they couldn't see it, but they heard what the man prayed. God blinded them.
Right.
God opened their eyes. Yeah. God, I'm gonna lead you. So they had to be frightened by his, and so they were so pleased by the hospitality and frightened by the power, and then I guess it took away their ability to want to even fight no more, because they were like, oh, we're going home. We're not even gonna fight. They gave up basically.
Right, and we ain't coming back.
And they didn't come back. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. So
war's over. It's over.
Basically,
over.
Now, if we had that today, man, as we talk right now, my sister called me. My nephew is on that what do you call it on the what do you call it? The carrier, the the aircraft carrier
Oh yeah, the
is
aircraft.
bombing.
Right.
He's in Yemen right now as we
Oh really?
speak.
Okay.
Yeah, he's out at sea, and they bombing all over there, by sea, and then the rest of them are using the drones.
Right.
And so
Hoitit, what is it? Hoitit that they're bombing
they're
some.
in Yemen. They're in Yemen,
Okay.
North Africa. So I said to my sister, "Well, how long has he been?" She said, "Oh, he's been at sea for about 3 months now." So they've been in that area, and they just got the approval or the orders to bomb these people. And so I said, "Well, he's out at sea, and they're bombing from out at sea, and then the rest is doing it." So, but we don't, we don't. That's something that we don't have to do.
Right.
If our eyes were open.
Right. Exactly.
If our eyes were open. And some of the powers that be, they want to stay in the darkness because the darkness gives them a prosperous profit from bombs and bullets and all of those things that are destroyed. They make money off of that.
Yep.
Billions and billions of dollars. Yeah. And so
some people say, what good is having a stockpile of weapons if you don't use them?
Don't use them. Yeah. So my sister's calling asking for prayer. I'm like, well, okay, we're gonna pray that. But I thought he was still up in Maryland, But no, he's so they deployed them from down in Norfolk, and they've been out there since January.
Mm-hmm.
So, but if God would open their eyes, from all of the darkness, then they would be just as afraid as the Arabian army.
Exactly.
You know what? That's it. We don't have to bomb anyone, because there's going to be a massive loss of life as we speak right now in Yemen. People are dying, and all because of as dark as it is, and they can't see the light. That we don't need to settle our differences through bombs and bullets and all of the things that are so unnecessary.
Right.
But I believe that Elisha had something that was handed down to him, from Elisha. He asked him, "Let a double portion of your spirit be upon me." He said, "Well, you've asked a hard thing. Nevertheless, I'm let it be done unto you." But that opening, and when people open their eyes, how do they see these adversities in a different way? I see them as opportunities.
Yeah.
Challenges and opportunities. And so many people are stuck in a permanent state of being stuck, just there, thinking, I'm hearing people saying now, "Oh, there's nothing we can do. It. President Trump is doing." I said, "Well, there's something we can do, and that is we can either protest, we can either write letters, we can either pray, or we can grow our own food. Amen. We can grow our buy some chickens and some animals and keep it in our own yards, so that we can produce for ourselves and save our money." I had one of my deacons recently died. He was well off. And I asked him one day. I said, "Hey man, Deacon Wiley, can you give me some advice on like salvation in life?" That's what he said. He said, "Save your money, son." He said, son. Right, man. He said, "Other than praying and fasting," he said, "Save your money, son. You're gonna need it."
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Well, you're right. I do financial services, and certainly you have to save your money. You got to invest. You got to keep your eyes open, and you've got to be able to make those choices, because you can't spend everything that you get. Because if you do, you will be you won't be broke. You'll be poor. Broke is a condition.
Mm-hmm.
Being
poor is a curse.
Is a way of life. You don't have to be poor. You can be broke for a minute, but don't be poor. And so, he's right. I think that we need to evaluate, you talked about the things that we can do. We can also begin to support each other in a grander way.
That's right.
I just saw somebody put out about a town in North Carolina. I can't think of the name of it, but they were doing well during Reconstruction, extremely well.
Wilmington.
Businesses, they were
Wilmington, North Carolina.
Wilmington, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
And they were just phenomenally gifted. So it wasn't just over in Oklahoma. It was
That's
going
right.
on all over the country,
Yes,
you
it
know,
was.
and because people didn't, people would not accept it, they literally massacred 300 people, killed 300
Yeah.
men,
Yes, sir.
burnt everything down to the ground,
Right.
because they would not let them, let them just grow. Now that kind of animosity can create feelings of real, what good is it for me to work? Even when I do, they take it away,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can become discouraged because they had, legally elected individuals who were in all areas of government, and they literally
Yeah.
killed them,
They
you know
killed him.
and so, we need to understand that. And then, and now I'm talking from a perspective of who we are as a people. And then, there was a story in the Daily News on the newspapers today about a general, black general in Vietnam, that his name was removed because they say it was a part of DEI, that he won 3 Purple Hearts. He was wounded. He was leading a battalion. He got people, he saved lives, but they took him out of the history books. They're trying to wipe it out. And so when they talk about woke, all they're saying is that they don't want us to know the history of who we are. Now, I'm one to believe, because every time I read the Bible, I'm looking for white people. Excuse me.
Right. Right.
I'm looking for them because I don't see them. They're not
Right.
there. They're talking about all of us. And so you're trying to remove the history of the world to suit your own fancies. That doesn't work. It
No,
hasn't
it doesn't.
before. It will never work, because we are a society of people.
That's right.
And so you have to tell the truth about what's going on in society, so that the whole society can grow and prosper, not just a few. And
Right.
when you get to the point where you're looking at the few over the many, then I like to I use an illustration especially when I'm doing workshops about kingdom building, or my financial workshops. I should show it when I put a picture on the screen of a knight, and he's on a horse,
Mm-hmm.
and he's walking across, and there's a castle behind him, right? And then there's a great crowd of people around, and there's this knight on this horse with this castle behind him,
Mm.
protecting the castle. And my slogan in my business is, it's not about the castle, it's about
All
the
right.
king.
All right now.
Because if you're the only entity in the kingdom that's prospering, and the people are suffering, they're not
Bad.
going to ask you for what's in the castle. They're going to take what's in the castle. Because if they're hungry and they're thirsty and you got it and they don't, they're going to find a way to get it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you take care of the people,
That's right.
people take care of the castle.
Yes, they will.
So we got to, we got the message that we send has got to be such that those who have the power recognize that they don't really have power. They
No.
just have been granted the opportunity to be in a position of power. But as you said before, those positions are temporary.
They are.
And we don't focus on the temporary.
We
We
don't.
don't. When your eyes are open, you see beyond the physical. You see beyond the present. You see the glorious future that exists in the kingdom. Because when that servant looked up and he saw those chariots and those horses of fire and those angels who were there stationed, he realized that he was safe, that he didn't have anything to fear.
That's right.
Everything was under control. That's what we're looking for, because that's what we see when our eyes are open. It's not being quote unquote that they're trying to make the word woke a bad word. Just simply being aware, being awake. Your eyes are open, you can see. Gotta see.
Well, and when I read Second Kings, and we get to once they get in Samaria, the king wanted to kill them.
Yes.
He
Yes.
wanted them dead. So
Yes.
he said, "Come on, let's just kill them."
Yeah. Should we kill him?
Yeah,
Should we
and
kill him?
so yeah, and that's what we're facing with those who have unchecked power and authority in the
Yes.
world. You know, they're trying to kill anything that's a challenge to their throne. So kill off Black history, kill off the down in the Aborigines down in Australia. You know, kill off the poor in Africa, kill off those in Ukraine. Get rid of all of them, so we can stay in power. And God is like, no, that's not the way we're going to do this. Yeah, there's a more of a brighter light than this dark kind of thing. You want to keep people in the darkness. You know? And so that's what we need. We're trying. We have an opportunity to embrace the light.
Yes.
And the challenge to share the light rather than us being all in the dark. And I just thank God that Elisha modeled what he learned from Elijah, and then the servant got to see. He got to see it, because when chapter 6 starts, they are all from the school of the prophets by then. And so they were all being taught the same thing, and it had to be pleasing, man, to receive the hospitality from the king. All right, we don't give them something to eat, give them something to drink. You know, maybe they had to change clothing, and then they were frightened. They had to be, because I'd have been real scared of Elijah. Man, and got us blinded.
Why are you being so nice to me?
Got us blinded, and now we can see.
You gave me the best wine. Why are you being so nice to me?
I'm like, you're not
trying to kill you.
You're not going to strike us with blindness again, are you?
Exactly.
We're not going to do that again. But imagine when you get back home and the stories that, man, we thought we was going to kill these fellas. We had them outnumbered, and then, man, we look around and there's chariots and horses and angels, and my man strikes us with blindness and leads us. They were like,
we couldn't
come
see
on.
nothing, man. Say that we're fumbling around, and then you know, we thought we had the upper hand. Turns out they were all around us. And then, you know, we saw the king when he gestured.
Right.
Should we kill him?
We knew we were dead.
And then he didn't ask once, he asked twice. Should we kill him? Now we couldn't hear. Now I think this is my imagination. We couldn't hear him, but we could see the gesture. We could see he was gesturing. Should we kill him? Should we kill him? And then Elisha turns in his humble way and says, no. And he says something that's really, really interesting. Would you kill those that you have a clear advantage over? What benefit is that to you?
What benefit is it to you?
Right. No, give them something to eat.
That's an easy kill. Give them something.
Exactly.
Treat them with hospitality.
Kill them with kindness.
That's right.
Let your love overflow in their lives. Turn their hate into love.
Yeah, and we truly need that across the world right now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we need that across the world.
I'm always thinking about Dr. King's position, and you know, those who worked with him with this nonviolent movement. I tip my hat to them, because it's not easy. Because I know that, you know, I was on the tail end. I was at a service yesterday, and Dr. Lowe was preaching. And Dr. Lowe, not ashamed, I can say it, he's 73 years old. And he's talked about, he says, I remember drinking out of white-only fountains. Right. And I would not put myself in a front seat of a bus.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the tail end of that, because I grew up in New York like you did. I didn't necessarily see that.
Right.
We had facto segregation here.
Right.
You know, you just went to school where you lived, and nobody in my neighborhood was white, so everybody was black. You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
But down there it was different. And when I went to Pickens when I was a kid, I never really saw any difference, because we always went to the alley. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah.
You know what the alley is. We went to the alley. They were the only people that were there were black folks.
Right.
So we didn't know. And when we go uptown on Main Street,
right,
we go to the store. You know, I'm from New York. I don't know how to behave and stuff.
Oh, man, you just walk in there like it's
like I own the place, you know. And so they would sometimes say, hey, you know what, you can't do that, and they pull me away, right? And
Right.
I didn't know, so you go along with the program. But even as I got older, I'll never forget this. I'll share this with y'all publicly because you need to hear this. This is a story that's true. I was in high school at the time, and I was working down at the Singer Power Tool Company. I was making there for the summer. And I was maybe about 16, 17 years old. I remember it's the year that Richard Nixon resigned.
74.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was the year before I graduated. So I was dating a girl who happened to be white.
All right. All right.
I worked 4 to 12. So I got off. I was staying with a couple of friends of mine. They had a trailer. I'm staying with them at the trailer. And my friend who was driving me back and forth to work, he would go swing around and pick her up where she would hide. So we
Right.
take over to the house where I was at. So we would be there. And I remember once we were driving, and Pickens ain't but that big.
You ain't lying.
A car's coming this way, and she ducked down. She had
Wow.
patent blonde hair. And she ducked down. I said, "What you doing?" He said, "Man, you know what she's doing."
Yeah.
Said, if
She'll
they
hook 'em
catch
like
up
a
with
seat.
us,
Right.
they string us up.
You ain't lying.
And I'm like, well, hold on. I'm 17 years old. What are you talking about?
Right.
What? So
Yeah.
I get that, right? So now this is in 1974. This is not ancient time. This is in my lifetime. My lifetime. And so I say that to say this, we're not talking about ancient history, but ancient history tells us how to deal with those situations. You overcome evil with good.
That's right.
You love people, you love them, and you don't retaliate because they do something that you quote unquote don't like.
Right.
That you don't agree with. That's not the way it's done. The way it's done is the way Elisha showed us that it's done. Even when you have the upper hand, you kill them with kindness.
Okay.
You love them. And what they do is they become your friends. They
have no other choice.
they
No other
defend
choice.
you.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's interesting when the persons that were your adversaries become your advocates. And they're the ones who, when somebody says something evil against you, will stand up and defend you better than you can defend yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I like. And Dr. King, and I started with him, he kind of embodied that for us and showed us how to do that. So a lot of the enemies that came against him really became the advocates for the things that he stood for.
Yeah.
Now, those people, many of them have died off, or they lost their enthusiasm, or they didn't transfer that information to their descendants.
That's true.
And now people are hearing the rhetoric and they're believing the lie.
Yeah. Yeah. It's nothing but rhetoric and because most of them that were with Dr. King, who was it? Someone said to me, Dr. King and then Malcolm were assassinated, and ever since then, which not many of them have they might have. I don't think anyone tried to assassinate any of them. Uh, Andrew Young, all of the ones that were with him, he lived a long life.
Right.
King and Malcolm X, I don't think either one of them made 40 years old.
Right. None of them. Nope. Dr. King was like 39.
Okay.
I remember because my mom died at 38.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
You got these. You're right, and then it's interesting because they cut off at a crucial time the head of the snake.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And the thing that we did not do well. And this is an indictment for all of us who believe that the Lord really does love us as a people, and not just as a Black people, but people in general. We didn't do a good job of raising up successors.
That's true.
People that would step right into place. We didn't do a good job of that. And so we lost momentum, and we lost a lot, because the moment that Dr. King died, what we did was we resorted to the one thing that he talked about. He said they know how to handle violence.
Right.
And that's exactly what we did. We
Mm-hmm.
resorted to violence. We went and rioted and destroyed our own community.
Destroyed our own community, our own wealth, our own black wealth, our
Yep.
own houses. Yeah.
Yep.
So we devalued our community.
Exactly. And that was a terrible thing. You know, I shared this, I think, before. I did a workshop once on self-improvement and self-actualization. It's an amazing workshop back in 1985. And we did this exercise called Damio, the Damio game. And the Damio is just like in the ancient Chinese culture, where they had Damios who were, they controlled vast areas, and they were supreme rulers. And so in this game that we played, they told us there was 99 of us taking this workshop. They split us up. They said, this is not a democratic process. You will know your leader spiritually. You'll know your leader. On my side, everybody turned and said, him.
All right.
I was like, whoa. I was put aback because I was the only black person there.
Wow.
And so we literally, this was a game of war. And we fought a war. So everyone was soldiers, and they did different things. I had ninjas, and my ninjas, you equip them with Nerf balls like this, right?
Okay.
And so at my direction, they could throw this at you, and if they hit you with it, you die. So the thing, scissor, rock, papers.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what two people would stand eye to eye, and they would stand on one foot, and they would do scissor, rock, paper. So either if your foot hit the floor first, you die.
Right.
If you lose scissor, rock, paper, you die. So we went through this whole process, people dying left and right. So my ninjas, if I saw someone who was really good and they were just taking advantage, I said, go and just do that. Take him out. Take her out. And so at one point, the gods called us, the other Damio and me, to a conference. Right? Nobody heard this except me and this other guy. And they said something, and I answered. And they said, you don't talk to the gods. Die.
Wow.
I was like, oh my God. So I lay down and I died. But this was a self-actualization, 7 days of this stuff, right? All kinds of different things. So they said, no, you're not dead. Get up. You can't speak. What? You can't speak. You no longer have a voice. Go. So I went back to my people. I can't talk. I can't tell them can't tell them what we did, can't tell them what happened. We're there. We fight this war. We win the war. I've got like 14, 18 people left on my side. Everybody on the other side dead. Everybody's gone. Everybody. So I'm there. So this other Damio, he has a choice. He can challenge me, he could surrender, or he could commit Harry-Carry. He challenges me. He wins. I die. So I'm laying there. Now, everybody else got taken away into the burial ground, which is outside of the auditorium where we were. I'm in the room. I can hear everything. But my eyes are closed. I can't see anything. I'm blind. So the Damio gets to choose. Well, he's over everything, right? The people that's left. The people who are left are given a choice. You know what the choice is?
What?
Surrender to him or commit Harry-Carry.
My.
You know what they did?
What?
All of them committed Harry-Carry.
Wow.
All of them. So here it is. Game over now because there ain't but one person left in the whole world. That's this guy. Now, this game it got real. It got real. I mean, you felt it, right? So they bring back everybody from everybody comes back from the graveyard. Everybody's sitting around this big circle. 100 people sitting around this big circle. I'm in the middle of the floor, laying down. I'm still dead. Nobody. This guy, the other daimyo, he's next to me, but he's broken
Mm.
because he's the only one left in the world. Everybody's dead.
Mm.
And he's like on his knees. He's just crying. I mean, he's literally crying.
Mm.
These people start telling their stories. One person says, "This is just like my life. Before I even get started in it, I'm out."
Mm.
And it just goes like that all the way around. People just breaking down. They do all kind of different things, right? And so at the end, they say, "Okay, you can rise and you speak. You can have your voice back. You can talk." So I get up and I say, "I know what Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X must have felt like.
Mm-hmm.
It's all that we lived for, all that we were able to accomplish. We did things together. We worked together. We literally came together to work, and we won because we had confidence in each other. And when I was killed, what I would have hoped that you have done, I couldn't tell you this, but what I would have hoped that you have done is taken what we had and empower him,
Right.
and teach him how to be a good leader."
Mm-hmm.
But when you killed yourselves, there was nothing left.
Nope.
Everybody lost. Nobody won.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody lost. We can't live like that.
Nope.
We can't live like that. We have to do better. And that whole process, literally, when I tell you it changed my life forever, it changed my life forever.
Mm.
I never had an experience like that ever before, because I saw things differently. My eyes were now open in terms of how selfish sometimes we can be, and how, we if we lack a communication skill, we don't figure out a way to communicate the real critical issues that we want other people to know about us. And I've been working ever since that time, 1985, I'll never forget it. I've been working to make that a reality in my life. So there you have it. I gave it to you. So and it's interesting, because when I think about, what the message for me was, is that those who are for you are much greater than those who are against you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And being the only person in this workshop, this whole thing, 99 people were actually doing the work. And then they had people who are facilitators. But I was the only person of color there, the only one.
Mm.
And when I left there, I mean, everyone, I had their respect, and they respected me. I respected them and they respected me. I mean, everybody. And it was an amazing thing, because it didn't have anything to do with race, creed, socioeconomics, nothing. It had to do with what was going on in the human heart.
Mm.
That's what I've learned, and that's what I try to live by daily, is that I'm not trying to judge people based upon some preconceived notion that I have about them, or what I think somebody directed me to do to them because they're in charge.
Mm-hmm.
I don't do that anymore. And if
All right.
it costs me, that I don't get something that perhaps could have been mine, like way of job, position, or anything kind of like that, it doesn't really bother me, because what really happens is that I'm trying to get to another level. I'm trying to see those chariots of fire, I'm trying to see those horses, I'm trying to see those angels. I'm trying to incorporate them into the lives of others and help them to see, like I now can see, that there is a greater opportunity,
Yeah,
even
yeah.
in the adversity.
See it.
And that was a life transformation for me. In fact, after that, that's when I got married.
Oh, wow.
I'm telling you, when I tell you that everything changed, I mean,
Yeah, that was a 360 turnaround.
that's right. I mean, it just. I say, you know what? Life is grand, and we have to take advantage of every second that we have because it's a gift from God.
Yeah.
It's a gift, and you can't throw your life away because you don't like something.
Right.
Like all of those people who could have made a difference in the world didn't because they killed themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish I had a chance to talk with them now, all these years later, and ask them what their thinking is today about that whole game that we played.
Hmm. That was a powerful game. Change your whole
I would love to
world.
do that amongst ministers. I would
Yeah,
love
yeah.
that. I mean, you talk about something that would be transformational, that really do that and give them an opportunity to really experience life in a different kind of a way. Talk about eye-opening.
Yeah.
A lot of people, went into it as if it was nothing, it's the thing. But then as time went on, right, if they died early, they didn't know what happened.
Right. They were out of the loop. Yeah.
All totally out the loop, right? And some of them left, it's no big deal, right? It's no big deal. But for those who took it seriously, it was transformational.
Hmm.
Transformational.
99 people, that's a lot of people, man.
Yeah. Yeah. It was different. It was different. And we did it in the hills of the Napa Valley in San Francisco.
Hmm.
Every morning we woke up, went out, exercised. Eagles flying up there, man. I mean, we ran up and down the mountainside, did Tyrol, you know what a Tyrolean traverse is?
Oh, what is that?
That's when you go, you get on a rope and you have a harness on hand, you pull yourself up.
Oh, yeah, okay.
And
Wow.
then and a rappel, when you rappel down the side of a mountain, did
Yes.
that too.
Wow.
Zip line, did all of that.
Yeah, I did the zip line.
Did all of that.
I did
So
all of it.
it was all of those things for me was fun.
Yeah, I know you.
That was just fun.
You
But
like,
that
can I
game,
get do it again?
oh man, they stopped doing it.
What?
They stopped doing it. It was an organization that was doing it, and it was an amazing thing. Then the
What was it? They didn't have the funding?
no, it was self-funded. You pay for it.
Oh, okay.
But it was, and I met some people that have done it, went through it back in the day. That when I talk with them, the language that they speak is different. I know who they are immediately.
Right.
Immediately. And there is an organization that I also did. It was it's called Leadership Westchester, right? It's an organization that comes out of Volunteer New York, and I was the chairman of the board at Volunteer New York, and I also went through Leadership Westchester. And when I walked into the class in Leadership Westchester, the facilitator started talking. I was like, "Hold time out." I haven't heard this language in years. I immediately picked up on it. Immediately, just like that. And it was, and this is something in Westchester County, up and coming leaders generally go through that. And I can tell you some of the leaders that have gone through it that you would say, what? I mean, they're really high powered people who went through it. And now one of the guy who's the facilitator was actually in my class.
Oh.
And the question at the end of the session, and it's a 9-month course. And at the end of it, they said, who benefited the least from this Leadership Westchester? In every class, they asked that question. And unanimously, they said me.
Wow.
You know why?
Why?
Because they said, you came in at that level already. They said, you came in, you're already there. You're already there.
Right.
Because I tell you, because they use the same principles that I saw there. And I said, oh my God, this is great. I haven't spoken this language in a long time. They talk about authenticity.
Right.
Talk about, being your authentic self. And they do it in a very real sense. So it's different. It's not like, It's not like playing a game. It's about really being who God created you to be in the fullest extent,
Mm.
and your fullest. Your commitment, your word. If you give your word, you keep your word. You live by your word.
Yeah, yeah.
People don't get that today. People say stuff and they just flippantly well, I didn't want to do it. That's not the way you live. It's not the way you live. That's the way our current leadership in this nation does. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter what they say. Their words mean nothing to them. There's
No,
no integrity. There's no authenticity.
no.
That's what creates the problem, because nobody really knows where they're going from one moment to the next. But chaos, people like chaos.
Love it.
It's like the Bible says, people love the sin they're in.
Yeah, you do. Good.
They do. So
Yeah,
change, how's the Bible say? This. The Bible talks about you don't want to change because you like darkness more than the light.
right. That's right.
You got to stay in darkness.
They love the darkness rather
Love
than the.
it.
Yeah,
Love it. And when you show them the light, they say, no, it can't be true.
right.
It can't be true. It can't, because life is not that way. Life is too hard. There can't be that much light in life. I'm staying here in the dark.
I'm more comfortable in the dark.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right. Because if I come out of the darkness, I ain't don't tell them what I'm gonna run into.
Right.
I'd rather be in the dark.
Yeah, and if you stay in the darkness too long, when that light hits your eyes, man,
Can't take it.
it'll take you a few minutes to adjust
That's
to
right.
the light. Yeah.
Do you know there are people who live in the subways?
I know. Yeah, I know. Underground. Yeah.
Yep. They don't come
They,
out.
they live in that darkness, man.
They live in that darkness.
Yeah.
They
And
live
the
in
only light they see is when the train goes by.
That's
Yeah.
right. And people think that's not true. That is true. I had a friend, my man Roy. He was a social worker. He was a KSAC social worker. And he used to do work and go down and work with those people who lived in
Wow.
the subways.
All right. All right. Yeah, they get
They
people
have
down
they
there.
have they have like villages and stuff
Got
that
little communities. Yeah, they
yeah,
got communities in there.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And you'd be surprised. There's 10, 15, 20 of them living in
yeah, yeah. And they kneel, they eat, they fight with the rastas down there.
there. Mm.
And that's their life. That's
Yeah,
how
that is.
it.
That's they're pleased with it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So listen, man, we almost out of time. I done pontificated for a long time. I didn't want to do that. I didn't mean to do that. But I guess I never know which way to so I never know what's gonna come up.
Right, 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 right.
But listen, let me turn it over to you and let you say whatever you need to say. And then I've got something the Lord placed on my heart that I want to share to go out with. But I in advance, I just want to thank you. I really do. I thank you. I appreciate you. And I'm going to tell you in advance, I want you to come back. I want you to look at your calendar. I want you to give me a date. And then you tell me when, and we'll make it happen.
No
Because I
problem.
really
You know
need
that,
to
brother.
get you
You
back in
know that. That's no problem.
stuff, because this is just, and I like the way you think. I like the way you think. That's why I like to have you on.
No
So.
problem. You know, what you're discussing tonight, open his eyes, her eyes, our eyes. It's so important because even as we speak, I was sharing with you like my nephew being over in Yemen on that aircraft carrier, and then all this happening in in our city, in our country, and so many people they want the light, but they're afraid, that they're comfortable in the state of darkness, and some are seeing dimly, a dim sense of light, and others are so caught up in the darkness that but it's our responsibility, our calling, to continue to be that light for them
Yes.
and to teach them that there is a better way, and that we can have the same kind of hospitality uh, towards those who we won't be like the king. That can I kill him? Can I kill him? No,
Mm-hmm.
we don't want to kill their potential. We don't want to kill the opportunity that they have and the challenge that they have to overcome the adversity. Then we can also let them see that maybe they were frightened by the power that they saw. And right now, many people are frightened because of postures that we have in front of us. Our president and so many others who, they have all of these. It's really kind of like unbelievable, but it's manifesting itself right before us, and God is starting to open the eyes of the people and the nation and the world, and then in the end, all of it is so that He gets manifest glory, and that's what's going to take place. Thank you, Dr. Russell, for time that we share together, man, and you keep doing what you have been doing, making God proud, and let's keep opening eyes.
Well, I thank you for that. Stick around, don't leave. I'm going to close out with this, but I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that because I know sometimes we don't have a chance to talk like I like to, but I like it when we get together and do that. We got to break bread. We got to break that bread together. We've been talking about, but we
Definitely.
Yeah. I was talking about my friend, and I told you I went to the hospital Montefiore the last few days, and my friend's wife had a heart attack, and then it turned into a stroke. But when I went there last, I think it was Thursday or so, she was breathing on her own, which was a story, a blessing that can stand as a sermon all by itself. I shared with her and my friend the story found in 2 Kings 6 about Elisha and his servant. It seemed strange text to share with someone who was in the hospital and plans are being made for the worst, even while we were praying for a miracle. But I shared this text because the enemy shows up in so many different shapes, forms, and fashions in all kinds of situations, and the onslaught seems impossible to defeat. We often get the feeling that we are surrounded and there's nothing we can do but surrender. Here we were praying for a miracle, and the Lord takes our dear, sweet sister home this morning. Takes her home. I asked the question last week that is appropriate for this week, and I asked, does that discount the fact that we prayed and the Lord took her home? Does that discount the validity of the power of prayer? Asked another way, when a prayer is not answered the way we want, does it invalidate the power of prayer? Absolutely not. The Bible says that the effectual, fervent prayer of a righteous man or woman availeth much. When something seems to be completely impossible, or there seems to be no way out, no options, no chance of escape, there are two things that can be done. First, believe in the impossible.
All right.
Second, pray. If you want to see a miracle, you have to first believe the impossible. Then you pray. Elisha prayed for his servant and asked the Lord to remove the fear by opening his eyes. Now notice two miracles took place. Two things happened. The prophet prayed and blinded eyes were opened. When he saw the chariots of fire and the angels all around them, the servant's clear vision of the power and the might of God removed all earthly fear. He was no longer afraid. My friend's earthly fears were defeated.
Yes.
But he saw the chariots and horses of fire surrounding his wife. To be absent from the body is to be present with the Lord. He saw the guard of angels around and about her.
Right.
This was her escort to the gates of heaven.
Yeah.
But opened his eyes. That's a practical application. The greatest kindness we can do for those that are fearful and faint-hearted is to pray for them and to recommend them to the mighty grace of God.
Yes, Lord.
In the dark, we are quick to be frightened. When death or illness, relationship troubles, or financial woes, the opening of eyes silences those fears. The clearer the sight we have of the sovereignty and power of heaven, the less we shall fear the calamities of this earth. Can I say that again?
Yes, sir.
The clearer the sight we have of the sovereignty and power of God, the heavens, the less we shall fear the calamities of this earth. What about you? If you're in a situation that seems hopeless, have an incurable illness, the deep pain from the death of a loved one, relationship breakdown, financial collapse, whatever adversary, whatever adversity, whatever you're facing, whatever it is, I pray that the Lord will open your eyes so
Yes,
you
Lord.
see the chariots and the horses of fire, the angels that protect, guide, and lead the army that has already been dispatched, that are ready and at your service. I am praying that the Lord will open your eyes.
Yes, Lord.
My friend and guest, Reverend Dr. James A. Kilgore, the man whose ancestry and mine are birthed in the same hometown of Pickens, South Carolina.
Yes, sir.
I've been honored and blessed by your presence here tonight. I really have. You validate this ministry with your presence every time you come. And for that, I appreciate you and I appreciate your time. The last time we were on, by the way, I gave a moment of silence. You might remember this for the transition of my dear friend Ralph, Reverend Dr. Ralph H. Hoist III.
Yes.
And tonight, you are following his wife as my guest, the Reverend Dr. E. Regina Hoist, who is the pastor of Bethel Baptist Church, where he pastored and she was the co-pastor. You know, you can't make this stuff up.
Wow.
Chariots and horses of fire all around us.
Yes.
Those who are with us are greater than those who are against us.
That's right.
Thank you for being with us and for your transparency in ministry. You always leave nuggets of gold. I hope people picked them up. I hope you had your vacuum cleaner and just went behind picking stuff up, because he dropped a lot of stuff. Y'all got to pay attention, because this stuff is really good. Now do me a favor, and I want you to plan on coming back, as I said before, not 2 years from now.
No, man, I'll be back. You know that, bro.
Yeah, man, just check your calendar. Give me a date, because I want to do that. I want to plan it in advance so we can put it out there, so we can tell the conference to be here, so they will be a part of this conversation as well. Because they miss a lot of this because they don't come in, they don't join. But you know, I want to make sure that they're here.
Okay.
And don't forget our advertisers and sponsors, guys. The JLR company, J. Lauren R. Consulting LLC. Those are my companies for all your church financial needs. All you got to do is call 718-328-8096, or you can email us at jlaurenr@jlr.llc. It's not about the castle. It's about the kingdom.
Amen.
Matters of Faith, the book. You know, I've been talking about it. This is the book. This is a hard copy. You don't have a copy, you need to get a copy of this book, really. It's the only one I have so far. I got some more in my spirit that's got to come out. I'm working on another one now. Should have gotten it out at the end of the year, but it didn't happen. So this is the one that I have. But you can get it by going to my Cash App, $ Matters of Faith. The book is $24.15, and that covers shipping and handling. Or you can get it as an ebook. I put that information in the chat. www.smashwords.com/books/view/993177. Make sure that you get that. And don't forget Better Mag Magazine, www.abettermag.com. And a 2-year subscription is only $27.50. And don't forget that they're having their annual awards gala on the 29th of this month. And the tickets are $110. I gave you that information. If you want more, just reach out to me. If you didn't write it down, you know how to reach me. And then I want to share with you, John J. Fox and Sons Incorporated is a funeral service. You may not be aware of them, but they're professional, they're compassionate, and they're family friendly. They're right on the Grand Concourse. I used to live right up the street from them. They're proudly serving the Bronx community. Listen to this. For 125 years.
Wow.
Give them a call. If you need services, I guarantee they'll treat you well. They do a good job. 718-733-9114. 718-733-9114. That's John J. Fox and Sons Funeral Services. And please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share our Matters of Faith YouTube channel. That's very important, because if you don't subscribe to it, then you won't get notification that we're on. And when you subscribe to it, eventually we'll get to go viral. And if we go viral, then that means that this broadcast will be spread out all over the world. That's what we really want, because it's about reaching the people wherever they may be. You can help us to do that by subscribing to the Matters of Faith YouTube channel. You can telephone, text, email, message, but any way you do it, tell a friend to join us regularly on Monday nights. Tell them to make sure that they subscribe, like, and share the Matters of Faith radio show. And we are live on Matters of Faith, the YouTube channel. We also drop each episode on our Matters of Faith and the J. Lauren Russell's Facebook groups. We're broadcasting tonight there too. Please, ma'am, please, sir, subscribe, like, and share this Matters of Faith YouTube channel so that you don't miss a single episode of Matters of Faith because you didn't subscribe, like, and share the Matters of Faith YouTube channel. So on behalf of my guest, the Reverend Dr. James A. Kilgore, the senior pastor of the Friendship Baptist Church and the president of the Baptist Ministers Conference of New York, Greater New York, and vicinity, we want you to remember that there is an abundant life and that those who are with us are greater than those that are against us. So join us next Monday when my guest will be Sheku. I'm gonna have an attorney, a sitting judge on with me next week. I want to make sure I say her name correctly because you're gonna love this young lady. Her name is Veris Sheku. She's a judge, sitting judge in the town of Yonkers, city of Yonkers.
All right.
So I met her at a church, and we created a wonderful relationship. She was an attorney, now she's a judge, and actually, I used her services for a friend that got arrested.
Mm-hmm.
She got him exonerated completely.
All right.
And it was an amazing thing. I got to tell you, I'll tell you a story one day. This is amazing. Maybe next week, but come next week, hear the story, get to know it. Veris Sheku, you gotta come. You don't miss it. Don't miss it. But my friend James A. Kilgore, senior pastor and president, I want to thank you again for being with us today. And I want to say to each and every one of you, if I have not said this yet, if no one has told you this today, let me be the first to say, I love you, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do about it. So get used to it.
Love you, brother.
The Lord bless you. The Lord keep you. The Lord make his face shine upon you and be merciful to you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you